Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with LEGO Marvel Superheroes. There's a broken level of content here in that you just kind of can't, once you're in this open world, have a consistent amount of time that you would spend in the open world doing things. Like, these races are probably only going to be a few minutes. Is there any way you can mix and match races and gold brick challenges and other things that are around the open world Manhattan level to turn that into a hour's worth of an experience before having kind of a discrete breaking point where it would make sense to go to a different area or do something, do one of these story levels. Whereas at least in the main story levels, most of those levels tried to stay between 30 and 45 minutes. They weren't very good at that. There was one level that we did that was about 20 minutes, and that's fairly inconsistent for a LEGO game. So when I first started this series, I was thinking maybe I could do a single level per episode, but now that I'm doing the open world stuff, it's kind of just up in the air, and I'm just jumping around doing whatever floats my boat. And that is the generic better idea for a LEGO game, is to just have characters float, just have the players do whatever they want and not worry about anything anything specific. We're trying to get studs, and I would kind of like to just load out and into another area and not work in Manhattan, but I will make an effort to try and finish the financial district and go around in some edges. That way we can at least feel like we're making a decent amount of progress, because there is a lot to Manhattan, obviously, a lot of things. So you have to build the treasure chest to get the gold thing. And playing as Spider-Man is the best way to play, I think, but it does have some disadvantages in the fact that I don't think he can do much more than be incredibly maneuverable, which that means I'll probably only be able to play as him consistently once I've already gotten everything. Like, I can make Spider-Man hit a wall here, and then he has like a boost launch like so many other characters we've seen. Is this faster than just flying upward? No. And you can try and double jump, but it's easy to mess that up too. Okay. Well, maybe Spider-Man will be slightly helpful here in that we have to fall down. I missed one. I guess you could have gone up. Really don't know what the puzzle here is, though. There's no swing bars, there's no platforming or anything. And I would say these sound effects for Spider-Man don't sound so much like Spider-Man. And then he's transforming into Peter Parker before I can do anything. He's also a DLC character, so if you don't pay the extra money, you wouldn't have even had him to play. So Spider-Man was definitely the best character, I think, that was worth playing. But I could also see in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, I could also see though it being crazy for the game to lock you into playing, or even heavily suggest you should play as him in this game, since he doesn't play any role in any of these movies that are mentioned. Right. We're looking for edge cases. That's what we're looking for. Where around the rims we recognize a potential collectible, and I'd like to then leave. Nope, this is not the character that breaks those. Thor can break these. Alright, and then we break that, and then that makes a switch. There's a fairly high inconsistency as far as what these boxes mean, as far as what will unlock them, whether it's a switch or character or standing on a platform. So I see a blue, and I don't think blues are important. So let's go up here. This really is the extra time, and it feels very much like they are double dipping. You really can't get past that feeling, because if you think about it, there's I'm gonna have to hit all these other ones. This is a lot of things, and I can't aim the right way. I'm just gonna hit A without pointing in a direction on the controller, and that works way easier. There we go. And then either I double jump or I transform, fly back up here, to then transform back to this, and it really is easier to do that. And you don't even land on the gold brick, which previous LEGO games you have just had gold bricks appear in the air, I feel like, unless I'm just misremembering. Right. Down here is something, over here is a gold brick. In this big building. Where are you hiding, gold brick? Must be on the other side of the gold brick building. This is where you're gonna run into problems, certainly, is that the giant buildings that would exist in LEGO will start to act as giant walls to hide your possible progress. Alright. Well, I feel like we have done something here before. I feel like I activated something that looked a lot like this, and maybe I didn't realize there was more to it. Or Yeah, I haven't had the game crash or anything, so that if I had activated this before, I would have just had to have completely missed the platforms, and that seems unbelievable. But maybe. That was a far jump. Nope, I had done that before. And that gave me a purple stud, which is helpful to get us to the 4 million score that we're trying to reach, but not really appreciated. Yeah, there's a gold brick somewhere in the middle of this building, or somewhere under this building. So it must be under the building. In here. Sneaky. Ultron can fix things, so this will work. And then Ultron can also hack things. And what did that switch do? It activated something over here that I didn't even see, which then lets me go down even lower to probably a subway section. Or some weird workroom. Alright, a little bit of a puzzle. I like this a lot because it's using real Lego pieces. And a significant amount of this game has not used real Lego pieces or severely underused real world Lego pieces. And this spinning option is getting repeated a lot, but probably not as much as it needs. Not as much as would be a problem. Okay. Well, that's 2 lights, so I guess the question becomes, do these lights stay on? Yes, they do. Nice. Then mad dash race out of this area around incredibly tight corners with incredibly bad camera work. And you know the corners are tight because even the AI characters can't figure out how to reach you.
I know you heroes are normally just flying across the sky without a care in the world, but if you've got a moment, there are some criminals close by, so a little help?
I don't know why they're putting barriers to walking in some places. That seems like that's some bad design. Alright. I don't know if it's necessary to raise the platforms, but I guess you're gonna have a timed experience here. Although, in all fairness, why not just hit that one and then jump here? That's kind of a interesting trick to make it seem a lot more difficult than it actually is, because the platforms weren't connected to each other. Let's see. More and more we may have to make a decision to focus on like crimes and random things that get sound effects and announcements. That way we could, then it'll be just quieter and more focused as far as the other types of challenges.
Normally I'd keep score by putting little marks on the walls, but I kind of try not to do that so much anymore.
But also we want some variety here, so if I fly around and intentionally start doing the crime minigames, I'll miss out on a bunch of other minigames. Right. So this guy needs to hit errors in everything, and that's going to drop a bunch of Lego bricks to make a bunch of platforms. But those aren't Lego studs. They should be Lego studs by any means. It should shoot out at least one Lego stud. It kind of feels like there was someone that worked on this game, or half the team that worked on this game just hadn't ever made a Lego game before, because there are some weirdly non-Lego decisions. Look how terrible this is animated. He's not making the jump, and then it just magically teleports you to the point.
Would you like to see a picture of my great-grandchildren? What am I saying? Of course you would. Got reports of a high-speed chase in progress. First one to bump him off the road, it's first to the
But I don't know what kind of game you have here then, if you were going to try and make a TT game that was not Lego-fied and didn't have a Lego theme. You could theoretically do it, but I don't know if it would sell. The idea of running around and collecting just gold coins, for instance, and doing missions with around the idea of gold coins, I don't think that would work. And the idea of each object not having any unique art style, if everything just looked like these fairly dull backgrounds and building textures. Yeah, I just don't know what that would be. It would probably be a very, very bad game that would still have to charge a premium price to look like something that could have been a cell phone game. Can we speed up this guy and make it to the race? Apparently we can. Quicksilver is still proving to be the best controllable person for a race compared to driving, because I don't want to do the driving minigame. Unfortunately, there's just a lot of that. A lot of gameplay mechanics that are leftovers from previous Lego games that never got polished. And really, TT Games needs to take a step back. They need to remove half of the features that they could use and say, should we use these? And if we are going to use these, let's polish them so that they actually play correctly. Alright. That was not the best race, because it ran me back to a place I don't want to be. I think we might just go a couple more minutes and then I want to do a level. I think there's just always going to be more of this. Yeah, you can kind of feel how the radar isn't really useful until you almost have everything removed. So I would have potentially thought about, hey, let's have an internal metric here for easy challenges, medium challenges, and difficult challenges, and we'll unlock the radar to point the players to easy challenges only first and foremost, and then the radar will get an upgrade to point you to more difficult challenges after you've gotten like 30% of all the collectibles done. And then that would have a player not be able to just completely rely on a radar, which right now I can just completely rely on the radar and map out my gameplay to the point where I may finish everything in the financial district and just never go to the financial district again. And I definitely am not spending any time to walk around and discover the world, even though this is repeated content, and I'm irritated a little bit to be running around Manhattan and it not look fairly different. Perhaps what they needed to do was set this in New York after the Chitauri attack, like right after the Chitauri attack, or set it in like a near future. At least put a different skin on it that way. It is far too easy still to not find anything to do because everything's around here.
It's not like I didn't have a lot to do already, but how could I say no to that furry little face? Or faces, as is now the case.
This is that returning joke where you're looking for a cat in LEGO games.
Device we were developing and replicate himself. As adorable as an army of Mr. Tittles sounds, it could be dangerous to have them running loose before we can perform some tests. Please help me find them.
I need to find missions like these and make sure I've done them all.
I suppose this is one way of giving a cat
That way I can run around the level and decide other things that are near that area. Right. There's the cat. And so here you have a Lego cat. And we'll just fly around and do this mission. And when we're done with this mission, we'll do a story mission, one of the DLC levels. Are the cats going to be hiding? There it is. So it seems like maybe the cats move out of the way. And there was a thing over here. We had already done that. Particularly if we could find it, if we could create a dividing line between Central Park and the north half of Central Park and the south half of Central Park, then that would definitely work nicely to point me in specific directions and say, well, there's only half of New York, half of Manhattan that needs to be dealt with. The cat was just there, but I think there's something else over here. So we'll do this. It just looks like a rest area with lots of Lego food, which is nice. They've not done much with Lego food in this game. In fact, they did that milkshake joke over and over again, and that was about the only thing they did. And it's unbelievable that they wouldn't have had and used the 3D models of other kinds of Lego food, like popsicles, apples, bread, baguettes, hamburgers. All of these have existed for quite a while. Let's see. Come on. Get out of the way so I can hit this target. Okay. Let's see. Over here we've got another purse snatcher.
Let's talk business.
That's terribly animated. They glitched the character.
I'll admit, I had my doubts about you, but you've really stepped things up a notch lately. Keep it up.
But I'm still not sure that those crimes aren't just randomly generated and that they don't matter. So I might be running around doing all these crimes for no reason. This is a very oddly designed combination of buildings. Let's see. Got some gold, which we'll get this gold brick. Let's see. Hawkeye hitting these two with his Sonics. Freeing a fish from its tank, or killing a fish, to then use a fish to build a Lego switch, which is very weird. Yeah, if we could get fast build, this would be way better. I guess the real question to ask yourself was, will you be using fast build more in free play mode, or will you be using it more in the open world section? You probably would do a little bit of both, so it will probably come down to a close chance. Or, okay, here we have a cat. And over here we've got another cat. Keeping most of the cats in Central Park is probably asking a lot. They would have been possibly nicer to have the lost cats running around a less busy area. This is definitely not a mission I would want to reset. I'll blow that up because I think that's a Stan Lee in Peril. He's just trapped inside of a Lego fort, for lack of a better term. This is a very vertical level. Switch, switches, switches, platforming. Yeah, I think ideally what you would want to do is switch to this guy, there and land on the Switch, and it won't let you do that because that would be cheating too much. Just press the A button, let that activate, press the A button, and then you move out to this part and careful not to be pushed off. This is actually something that I haven't seen before in a LEGO game, potentially getting shoved off, because that does open a door to frustration that you might fail over and over again. For a kids game, failing on the last bit of a long challenge can get very frustrating. Like, you cannot overstate how easily and quickly kids can be frustrated, because all kids are different. So it really does have to be fairly idiot proof if you're going to make a kids game. And that's what I personally like about LEGO games as an adult playing a LEGO game. I like the simplisticness of it. Where's the criminal? He's over here. We have like 3 of the exact same character, or 4 of the exact same character.
You take away my world, I take away yours.
That was an incredibly slow.
Cancel that chiropractor appointment.
And see, that time he was just being beaten up instead of purse snatching.
Never thought you'd be able to do that in a million years. I'm just kidding. Great work.
But it's so crazy you don't get some kind of reward for doing that. Like it doesn't give you any studs or anything. Alright, let's see where this race takes us. This is a flying race. I was questioning that. We have to go back and turn in the mission, I think. And I assume this race didn't cancel a mission, but I assume if I accepted a different mission, that would cancel a mission. And I'm fairly certain this was a real race, and I'm not doing something I already did before, but it'll increasingly become imperative to make sure that a race is a real race and not a fake race, or a rerun of a race that's already been done. They're not fake races. We've got another car, another beating up. It's a fairly violent crime to depict in a LEGO game.
Good going. You're like a hunter of crimes and villains. Maybe that should be your official title. Or not.
I suppose it is worth also mentioning that they don't have to animate the lips of most of these characters when they talk.
Mr. Tittles! But
They do on some of them,
it appears all the clones are identical in every
but
way.
then they
No
don't
signs of
on some others.
caused by the cloning process. I Same noble portrait, same glossy coats, so it shouldn't matter which one goes back to Black Panther. As for the others, well, it appears I've gained myself a few pets.
And so that unlocks Veil. Alright.
Satchel, and it's mine.
Let's look here. Crimes. Yeah, I think the crimes might very well just constantly occur as a way of giving you something to do. And I feel like I probably, when playing LEGO Marvel Superheroes, made the exact argument that there should be something to do after you've done everything, because it's such a nice big area. And it gave me some studs. But unless they're giving me a gold brick, which they aren't, yeah, the crimes just keep on going. So I'm gonna quit focusing on crimes and ignore them going forward, and I'm going to instead just focus on other things, the rest of the challenges. Okay, so there's Miss Marvel, I think, is the next story mission that we need to do. Classic Captain Marvel, which, yeah, Captain Marvel, not Miss Marvel. That's a different character. So we do her story, and probably that puts us in a great position to have enough to buy the next red brick score multiplier. Also, I'm very confused as to how Captain Marvel's story got added as DLC for this game, when it feels like this game would have stopped at Age of Ultron, which would have been, I think, at least 3 or 4 years before the classic Captain Marvel movie came out. Perhaps the Captain Marvel movie was delayed, but they just barely got that out before Endgame, and at a certain point, if they were going to have Captain Marvel, which is kind of an intro to Endgame Part 1 and Part 2, they might as well have just put in DLC levels for Endgame Part 1 and Part 2, because at a certain point you're just admitting there will be no other LEGO Marvel Avengers 2, which I think is fairly obvious at this point.
Peril Danvers here. Well, at least I was, until I got caught in an exploding Psyche Magnetron machine. I came out of the blast with an extra lobe in my brain and some pretty awesome superpowers. Going by the name Captain Marvel and wearing a cool costume, I battle evil. Things have gotten pretty weird around here recently. A few unwelcome guests coming out of the woodwork. Oh, what now? Lady wrestlers? You're putting me on. Let's make this brief, Pound Cakes. I've got places to be. So there we were in the park, when my old adversary, Pound Cakes, suddenly shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah, unless...
Seems like Pound Cakes didn't want to play after all. Except I wasn't buying it. Probably just trying to lure me in. Time to look around for a plan B.
Unless Captain Marvel, or classic Captain Marvel, is a different character than what I'm thinking, it seems like the Captain Marvel movie gave her a different origin. And Captain Marvel is effectively supposed to be the Superman equivalent in the Marvel Universe. And I don't think the movie really gave her as much justice as it should. And generally, comic book nerds seem to be particularly unimpressed with the actor character that they got to play Captain Marvel, and she didn't really play a great role in Endgame, although they tried to make it out like she was going to be vital to the fight. And then people didn't like that because the final fight in Endgame really needed to be amongst all the heroes that were in the Avengers movies. The the ones you'd gotten to know and love. And he's just splashing in the water. Alright, we need to go ahead and break things and get as many studs as possible.
This gal wasn't gonna go down so easy. That tackle attack gave me an idea. Maybe she needed a little charge of her own.
Scrolls were mostly being focused on with the Captain Marvel movie, which the Skrulls are this alien race that were supposed to be this major event that I don't think people particularly remember or appreciate anymore, where they can like perfectly clone and replicate people, and they were replacing superheroes, and it was like an attempt at an invasion and paranoia of your fellow man type storyline. I'd also say that the Marvel Cinematic Universe decided to do they added Captain Marvel as a prequel character so that her movie and the events of her movie happen mostly in the past, which makes it seem like Nick Fury was just hiding Captain Marvel away from all the other Avengers and not telling them about her, which is kind of ridiculous. And you inherently will run into that problem over and over again in any Marvel Cinematic movie where you have to introduce a new character. You're going to have to make those characters, the new characters, get their powers or join the Avengers after the events of all the other Avenger characters, which really is just like a great argument for them to have done their research and plan things out and have a extremely tight timeline as to when certain characters appear. And Marvel failed to do that quite a bit because, like, Captain America, before he was frozen and brought to his future, the present day, would have been the prime, should have been the prime motivator to introduce a whole collection of first generation heroes. I don't know what I'm building, but mostly I'm just trying to get studs. We need about 700,000, and we may not get that many, so we may have to do another level. But if we could get close, I might be able to cheat it. We've got these little Lego Weebles. Or groundhogs. I guess they're called groundhogs. Although maybe that's the same word for the two different words for the same animal. Yeah, we won't be able to get everything. $400,000. And all I'm supposed to be doing is fighting him, which at least the game is making that fairly clear by having the guy just attack me. Let's see. Well, not completely fight him. I was supposed to do that, I guess. And that's cool and cinematic.
Now that was an accident just waiting to happen.
You don't see that very often. And we haven't seen that before in this game. I would say that bad guy's outfit looks too similar to Captain America's outfit, and Captain Marvel's outfit is also too blue.
She was on a super rampage and called me out for a one-on-one wrestling match. I'm no wrestler, but hey, somebody had to shut her up.
Pound Cake is apparently a female enemy of Captain Marvel. I have no idea. I've never seen any of her comics. I didn't get heavy into reading any of the Marvel comics. I tried to read the DC comics, and honestly it didn't. At the end of the day, trying to read the New 52 and have a very easy starting point with the New 52 still didn't satisfy me enough to make me want to become a comic book fan. The amount of entertainment you get compared to a video game is kind of exactly opposite. Man, this is just the same prompt, just going over and over again, doing the exact same thing. And I think I'm doing it right. I think I'm supposed to be tapping B, but maybe I'm not tapping it hard enough, but the game isn't giving me any indication.
Great. What now? Jan Rog. I should have known he was behind this madness. Looks like he's going to crush my lovely city with another city? He can't do that. I've only just got my place how I like it. Come on, Cap. We have to stop that Kree before the Big Apple's only fit for strudel.
This is interesting visuals for a side level. Yep. You probably can tell I'm not even a big fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe because I know what happened as far as in-game Part 1 and Part 2, but I haven't even bothered to watch that, and that would be the biggest motivating movie out there as far as the Cinematic Universe. If you don't want to watch in-game, you basically don't want to watch any of the movies, and that's really what it kind of comes down to. Is I don't want to spend any money or time watching any of the Marvel movies.
His plan became clear.
I'll get them.
Shrapnel from the psyche magnetron machine still in my body were being used to help power his evil schemes. Jan Rog had used this power to rebrand himself as Magnetron. He planned to rebuild an entire Kree city, dropping it on top of New York.
Yep, here's the Kree.
Speaking of headaches, every time I tried to fly, I got a searing pain in my skull. I'm guessing that was due to Magnetron using my strength to power his.
Interesting to see people in a building across the way. You don't. I haven't seen that in a LEGO game before. But yeah, I see there's also collectibles across the way. Yeah, I'll watch a Marvel game, a Marvel movie, like when it's free on TV, and that's about as much as I'm willing to commit as far as Marvel movies. I have.
It was a weird feeling, as if when Magnetron got hurt, I felt it too, like we were connected, being drained of power every time he reappeared.
Here we have Captain Marvel narrating her own story, where everybody else has a sidekick that is narrating it. Yeah, just in that alone, you see there's a difference being done here in Captain Marvel as a character. She doesn't have a sidekick. She doesn't have anybody who can spew adulation and good vibes about her, so she's having to self-aggrandize, and that sounds conceited when she does that. Like, ideally for just this game, at least for this game, you would have had your second character, Captain America, be the narrator, and talk her up as being super powerful, highly moral, the man for the job, to excuse a pun. Boy, was
Cat
that
was
a
pretty salty about that bike getting destroyed. I said I could hook him up with a spaceship, but he just gave me that face.
I don't know what kind of relationship Captain Marvel in the comic books had with Captain
Yeah, I knew
America.
it wasn't gonna be that easy. Bad guys are all about the theatrics.
If they're both captains in the U.S. military, there's room for at least a consideration of rank there, because one could be like a captain. I suppose one could be a captain first class and one could be a captain second class, although maybe not. Maybe captain equals captain and they're on the same level. It kind of would make sense to keep them on the same level if you ever wanted them to have a love interest or be love interests to each other.
I was starting to
This
feel
is
like no matter how many of these
fairly slow
constructs
for a
or
boss
bad guys
fight.
that I got rid of, Magnetron would just go ahead and summon some more. We needed a more permanent fix.
We have enough studs now, I believe. I don't think these Scree, as they're being depicted, are particularly well designed. So that might be an indication that they hadn't settled on what the Scree were going to look like in the cinematic universe, and they just used kind of generic alien looking creatures for this LEGO game, which is probably fine because the Scree tend to be stealing people's bodies anyway, so and they want me to break this wall, but they don't make that fairly obvious that that's what they want me to do. Because I'm not breaking the wall directly, I'm instead shooting the laser back and then having random destruction break the wall.
As much as I love a good brawl, this isn't getting us anywhere.
Well, that just started the cutscene. Interesting.
I don't know how, but somehow the source of my headache is also the source of his power. I need to get away. Break the connection. Only then can he be taken down. The further I get from him, the more I can feel my mind slipping away, losing who I am. My memories. I hope I let the cat out.
That was an extremely abrupt end to that level. Just really extremely abrupt. But it got us close enough to 4 million. So we'll be good. Let's just hit the A button. We are 140,000 short, which we can get that in a couple different ways, I'm sure. There was basically no story in that level at all. That was very weird. And again, it just feels unfinished. Alright, so now what we want to do is go to, let's see, Rail Hydra in free play mode, which is Which one? I bet it's not any of them over here. I bet it's on the other side of the world. Stuff of the Sokovia, Rise of Ultron, No Strings on Me, Shakespeare in the Park. Not that one. Not that one. Where are you hiding, Rail Hydra? Here it is. So we need to do this in free play mode. And let me just double check to see that this is part B. Yep, I don't know why I needed to double check. The game itself tells me that the red perk is in part B. And then we'll just choose Ultron since we know he's a fairly good character. Apparently you only need 6 characters to do everything in a free play level, which seems like a small amount. And let's just go ahead and skip. Right. So we need to find the collector, which where are you hiding?
This is not quite the red face I was hoping for.
Here we go.
Before you ask, I have a temporal assimilator and it... You don't need to know more about how I got here, just know this. I've come seeking an authentic Schmidt Red Skull mask. Find it before me, and I shall arrange a most agreeable exchange.
Schmidt. Does that word mean something, Schmidt? Okay. And then, where would the Red Skull mask be hidden? We need some studs. Sure. Is it really a time limited offer? Over here we've got a character token in a jail. Okay. Let's switch to vision, and then we'll come over here and collect the character token, which I'm not sure you need to collect all the character tokens in one go, and it kind of doesn't matter because we'll get the character token modifier later anyways, that would find them all. Do kind of know what it looks like because it's showing me an image. What does this do? I question if this is gonna...
Don't worry, we'll figure this out.
Yeah, I doubt this is gonna send me to where the red mask is. Alright. Back to Ultron. You know what? I don't actually need to swap between different characters, do I? I should be just using my my right and left bump options. Oops, sorry, hit my microphone pop filter. Yeah, this is way easier to swap through than holding down buttons and right. Am I supposed to open this? No, I don't think so. So we have a silver thing here, but it doesn't. Doesn't seem like I can easily target the silver thing. So we'll just... Man, that fire sure gets in the way of everything. I mean, he throws grenades. But the grenade didn't work. Maybe I'm supposed to hold down the B button. Yeah, I'm supposed to hold down the B button. And there we go, we've got the mask. And we've got that.
Magnificent condition, considering this wasn't kept in an enclosed display. Who else can say they own one of these? Another spectacular addition to my Hydra collection.
I don't know why the collector would be particularly interested in having a Hydra collection. I think he would probably think they were small potatoes. Alright, well, save and exit. That gets us everything we needed to get the next score multiplier, and we'll go to like the Barton farm, I bet, and we'll get everything done at the Barton farm, and with all the score multipliers on, that probably will do. Will let me get to either 6 or 8 million, whatever is next needed to get the last stud multiplier, actually, not score. And the only reason I'm getting the names backwards is because half the LEGO games do call it a score multiplier, and half the LEGO games. Alright. Let's go this direction. I guess this is probably one of the fastest ways to get back to the helicarrier. Where is it? There we go. Now it's just a matter of getting down. Will we get a hitch up as this loads? Yes, we did. Yeah, I have a massive brand new computer. Worth mentioning once again. Yeah, I'm half bragging it there, certainly, but my real point there is if a massive brand new computer several years after the development of this and release of this game cannot instantaneously load, it's a shame. I don't know if there's anything else to derive from that, but I would like to see that stop being the case. I'd like to see games have close to zero load always, and at least a couple years later on new equipment actually have zero load, or as close to it as possible. Right, score times 6 is now ours. So we now can go into extra turn that on. So 2 times 4 times 6 is, I believe, 38 or 48? Nope. Yep, 48. 48 multiplier. Which means with the track studs, just running past a single purple stud would be 48,000. Running around a level like this can get you hundreds of thousands of studs very quickly and easily. So yeah, I'm at like 600,000. It will be fairly easy now, but I don't want to load out of this. I want to instead go to space and select the, I imagine the Barton Farm will be the next one to choose, because we were over here. We've already done Washington DC, and Manhattan is the big one. So, and we'd already done the Shield base. I guess we should do Malibu, since we've never seen Malibu. Let's see what this looks like. Seems like it might be a very small area. Malibu is a running joke with Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that that Agent Coulson went to Malibu after he faked his death and was on vacation. Although I guess it's only a slight spoiler to say he didn't really fake his death so much as he actually died, and he was not in Malibu, and those are just false memories. We may be at a point now where it's no longer worth your effort to run around and smash things. Like, let's see, Thor. What's in here? An AIM agent. And I don't know what AIM is. Clearly is probably some other organization that would have been in competition with S.H.I.E.L.D. That would definitely have overcomplicated the stories if there were multiple agencies like S.H.I.E.L.D. around in competition, instead of just having S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra secretly in S.H.I.E.L.D. So yeah, we have a bunch of heads I think I need to smash that are being used as buckets for sand. Yeah, I'm definitely having a hard time a lot of times getting a full sentence out, because I'm trying to play the game and focus on what I'm saying, and I'm rusty. So that looks like, to me, like a Malibu apartment that might be a Tony Stark apartment that we may have seen in other levels. I was hoping it would prompt me a character to use. I'm still trying to figure out what character is the character they expect you to use. There's quite a lot of characters that we're just unlocking via Malibu, which does make Malibu feel like it is
wait a moment, I'm afraid.
It does make it feel like Malibu was just an added, almost left on the cutting room floor.
You can believe your eyes. Trevor Slattery in the flesh. I've been laying low in the old mansion house ever since what I like to call Mandarin Mania kicked off, and
Well, why not shave the beard and change the outfit?
well, I think there's the slightest, tiniest possibility that Mr. Killian might have tracked me down and sent his extremist goons to, well, do that thing they do to people they're not too crazy about. You'll do me a solid and take care of them for me, won't you?
Alright, so we've got a mission. 20 of these guys. This is going to take forever. Well, let's see how good Spider-Man is. He's still nowhere as good as Ultron. It's just so much easier to blast these guys with Ultron. If they had given me 8 or even 10 enemies to kill, I would stick with whatever character I was playing before because it wouldn't be worth it to swap. But when they give you 20, it's so much easier to swap. Although, I suppose it could also be... Well, I just forgot what I was going to say.
Do you know, I think the coast is clear. You're rather good at this kung fu stuff, aren't you? Did you train in stage combat? I'm sure the guy who taught me had a few of those moves. Just a lot more rubbish looking. Anyway, thanks for keeping me alive a little while longer. Here, I'll swipe this from Starker's trophy cabinet. Take it, in honor of your bravery.
There, we got another character token. It could be, though, for people with weaker computers that it is not worth it to press Y and go to the character select, because if there was, say, a pause there every time you tried to select a new character, I could see that being incredibly frustrating. Alright, we want to see what this will do. 1, 2, left, right, center. This is fairly rough ground to have this be on. But you only have to do it once, which I appreciate that, because we've seen other instances of that same puzzle where you've had to do it 2 or 3 times. Got a nice little calming sound effects and bird sounds.
Bet whoever hit all my security badges thinks they're a real comedian, don't they?
Happy Hogan.
I, for one, don't consider security to be a laughing matter. Plus,
I have no idea who this character is.
And the website to order replacements is so slow and ugly. And the ads. Oh, so many ads. No, I've got to get those badges back. Can you have a look around?
So we have 15 badges. And I guess we can't just say we don't need no stinking badges. So we'll collect all these and use this quest as a good excuse to work on other things.
I've checked the security camera feeds at the time the badges were stolen, but whoever did it was crafty. They kept putting this giant bunny in the way.
There we go. More collectibles. Yeah, I don't know how you make this level without having a heart-to-heart conversation first and foremost about how they planned on characters moving from one open world level to another open world level.
You're not busy, are you?
Unless these were... There's a giant bunny. Unless these were supposed to be story levels, and if these were supposed to be story levels, then I don't know what went wrong that they didn't get used as story levels and then got converted into 3D open world levels. This has got to be some kind of cave. Well, clearly this... I think maybe Tony Stark's lab down there. And yeah, resetting a quest with 15 collectibles is not something I want to do, but I think I might make an effort. There's another one of the Iron Man heads.
Face front. This looks like yet another perilous predicament.
So how am I supposed to save Stanley this time? That breaks it. And that's creating a switch over on the other side that you can't even really see well. And it just raised him up. It's pretty pathetic if Stanley can't even swim. Apparently that tree can't be broken. Nine more.
Hey, you're not busy, are you?
Got a second to wrap with me?
I think I have to go inside the building. This is kind of a point where I feel like they should probably have told us directly that the badges were not in the building. That was a fairly difficult challenge. And it seems to me like there's really only one way in the building.
Hey, you're not busy, are you?
Right. So let's fix this. I didn't have the prompt to tap B to fix this, and then I'll need Thor to unlock it. Once again, I feel very laid back, but I kind of feel like there's no way to play a LEGO game without being fairly laid back. You're just not gonna get to 100% if you're overreacting and hyping up your gameplay. Actually, could have just run in here, couldn't I? Alright, well.
Got a second to rap with me?
I have been asked to advise you not to touch anything or smash it.
And we have
You're doing it right now, aren't you?
Friday, the AI talking to you. don't think like the Marvel Cinematic Universe did anything with Friday, because they kind of replaced Jarvis with Pepper Potts as an assistant, which is kind of a nice thematic idea to say you're Tony, instead of relying solely on his own ingenuity and making his own friends and basically being a very rich incel, became much more sociable and agreeable and started dating Pepper Potts. Although I think at best you could probably have called the original snobbish, selfish Tony Stark a emotional incel, not an actual incel. I'm not sure that message particularly even plays well to comic book fans, because if there's one fandom that's been particularly female hostile, at least the stereotype is that comic books have been particularly female hostile, and it's been a boys only situation for comic books for a very long time, and they've tried very hard to make comic books appeal to females, or at least they've tried to look like they're trying to do that, but I think they fail miserably, because comics inherently are all about action, where females, generally speaking, are more interested in communication and emotion, which there's the only communication and emotion in comic books tend to be extremely base level stuff. And that's not inherently, in my opinion, a bad thing. It very well may be that there are just different types of entertainment for different types of people. You have the Japanese visual novels, for instance, that are extremely popular amongst Asians, but are extremely not popular amongst Western people who don't want to read novels and don't want to do that kind of role playing. But there is common ground on RPGs, because there are quite a lot of Western RPGs, and Japanese and Asian Eastern RPGs, but even at that, they go about it in a very different way, and you can, at a first glance, usually tell the difference between something like Dragon Quest and something like Fallout 4. Which, in all fairness, I guess Fallout is a sci-fi RPG and Dragon Quest is a fantasy RPG. A better comparison would be something like Skyrim and Dragon Quest. We're slowly making progress. I'm gonna make a special effort after finishing this level to start a quest and then go start another quest. That way I can get a confirmation whether you could potentially have two quests going at the same time. Because that's something that could be very useful to know. Because if I could run around Manhattan in particular and start several different quests, that would be really efficient. Why would Tony Stark have a basic prison? Well, I guess maybe it's more of a display case. This is a very nice artistic thing, but it's not LEGO. I feel like you could have easily made that with Lego bricks. This is Lego. And I don't think Lego games inherently have to have things be breakable, even if they are made out of Lego. Perhaps that is what they're trying to avoid, is the idea of having elements that they don't want to program as breakable, but look breakable because they're made out of Lego bricks. But then here you've got another one that's art. But then you have this that isn't breakable, and that painting isn't breakable, nor is it Lego. I feel like some of the art some of the art probably was custom art anyway, so why it's not Legofied art, I don't know. I am so looking forward to potentially having something that is fast, that would be fast hacking or fast scanning. I'm not sure there actually is an extra to do that, but it would be nice if it did exist. Just to skip all these little mini games. And I feel like at some point some of the Lego games have just decided to give you that option from the beginning of the game, just to skip that entire content, which
Really intuitive, darling. Not it. My programming doesn't allow me to lie. I'm just going by instinct.
Having a character that's just a disembodied voice is a little weird in any game, because I could see kids running around going, where is that voice coming from? Where is this character Friday? I've been looking for them for an hour. Thinking that they could like get a quest from them or unlock them as a character. Right. 2, 3, 4. Going to... That wasn't it? That was confusing. Red, yellow, white. Is that not what I did? Red, yellow, white. Black, red, yellow, white. Oh, I see. So you have to do this first. I thought that was nothing. That. Then this. Then that. That makes more sense, but that was very confusing. Another Iron Man suit. Far too many of them. And we are at 7 million now, so we will, by the time we finish this area, be set to get the final red brick, which then just sets us up to get all the red bricks from the rest of the levels. And once we have that, there's, well, kind of nothing else. It'll just be a matter of, do I want to run around Manhattan for another 30 minutes or so? And I probably should. I should probably do that once I have all the red bricks. Let's see, what would be the most efficient process here? Every time we go to space and select a level, it's going to, when we finish that level, put us back in Manhattan. So we should commit to a couple of attempts of doing things in Manhattan every time we load in there, and then we should go back and do another level, and then once again we would load back into Manhattan. I don't get the bunny rabbit thing. I think this is a reference to something that happened in the movie where Tony Stark gave a big giant bunny rabbit to Pepper Potts. That's about all I can figure. Is there a secret other area? I'm gonna swipe back to this guy. Okay. There's the final one. Got them all. And there's about 5 more things that I need to do. 5 more little quest things.
Found those badges yet? If it helps, Tony put some kind of microchip or... Oh, my babies! You came back! Daddy's gonna dust you off and get you all right back on your own lapel. You just watch. Sorry. A little more emotional than I like here. Thanks a heap for this, buddy. You know what? As thanks, if I ever see you walking around here without a badge, I'm just gonna look the other way. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. You are a real hero.
Yeah, that would be kind of funny to see, like, all of the superheroes getting carded and being required to have a badge.
Did you notice the giant bunny by the house? What am I saying?
Every time they enter like a shield base.
Tony got it for me as a present, and you know, it's sweet and I appreciate it, but well, I just think there's someone out there who'd appreciate it more. I just need a picture to put in the ad I'm taking out, and oh, you know what? Hulk selfies are getting popular. I bet if he was in the picture, that'd drum up some extra interest in our bunny friend.
So,
before I forget, you might need to reassemble or rearrange some of the parts of the bunny before taking the picture. Tony took it apart to refactor into one of his suits. I'm kind of disappointed he gave up on the idea.
So yeah, they're working fairly hard to include the Hulk. Justin Hammer.
When I rewatched that last presentation I gave, I realized that I am a pretty awesome dancer. So lately, I've been pouring all my energy into dance. Yeah, actually, I just came over to show my old pal Tony some of my moves. You want to see? And hey, maybe even try it yourself.
This will cancel your current mission. Okay, so it does tell you. It straight up tells you that you can't do 2 missions at the same time. Come on, where's the last one? Alright, so this creates some spinners, which then lets me spin some things.
Is everything set? Then let's get Hulk and take that picture.
Then we need Hulk. They're trying to include the Hulk as much as the cinematic universe was trying to include Hulk.
Great picture. This should generate some good publicity for our big buck-toothed friend. And the rabbit, of course. Thank you so much.
I don't think the Hulk is buck-toothed. I think he has perfectly straight teeth, actually. see.
The whole arms dealing business kind of
Skip. Follow him.
Okay, now you're just showing off. This isn't fun for me.
And then the
I'm kidding.
question here
So much more fun than prison.
is, how many times are we going to have to copy him? And would we have to reset if we messed up? I think we probably would have to reset if we messed up.
I'd be a great dancer if I had legs. Maybe I should get Mr. Stark to look into that.
Well, I wasn't paying attention at that point because I was reading the subtitles from Friday.
Was incredible.
I got lucky.
That was like a story told in dance. There were happy moments and sad moments and funny moments and moments that sort of skirted the border between sad and funny, as only the best dances can. Basically, all good stuff. Here, take this. You earned it.
So another character unlocked. We're getting to the point now where we have, I would say, about half of the characters unlocked. There's not a great reason to purchase any of the characters, and we won't purchase any of the characters until the end of the game. So that'll just complicate things.
It was an accident, honest. I was just curious
Amadeus
about Mr.
Cho.
Stark's automated suit operating system, and
I have no idea who
must have
this
pressed
is.
something which activated them all because they all just flew off. I managed to track their locations before the feed went dead. They're all still on the island somewhere.
Is this supposed to be the boy from the movie?
Can you help me?
Iron Man 3? I don't know. Like that would make sense if he was a little bit older.
It's hostile.
Right. Once again, I'll just switch over to Ultron. The suits might be a little bit more strong than an average enemy, but not by much. And am I following this guy, or is he following me? And it's the same suits over and over again, not different variations of suits. I imagine they didn't want to confuse the issue or
You know what to do.
or have a whole bunch of textures loaded of different Iron Man suits at the same time. That's where a new engine or embracing of the Unreal Unity engine would come into play. Is for LEGO games in particular, you need a lot of characters with a lot of different skins on the screen, or you would like that at least.
That's all the suits back in their cases. Get it? Suit cases? No, just me? Well, this is why I don't superhero. I gotta be honest with you. I knew exactly how that machine worked. One of the perks of having a so-called hypermind. But I really wanted to see those suits in action.
I have no idea who this character is, so I have no idea what the hypermind is.
It's a little adventure. You should take it.
Yep. This really is a great example where some kind of bio for each character is necessary, particularly when you think about this being a kid's game, and frankly, some kind of free membership to Comixology is really necessary too. Like you just won't have, like, even if you had a 10-year-old, which I imagine this is a game that you would want to give to 10-year-olds, probably could even give it to 8-year-olds or even 6-year-olds, and they do fine. But let's just say you had a hyper comic book fan that has read as much Marvel comics as you could possibly afford. They still would not really know even a small percentage of the extremely long running history that exists for Marvel. So only a Comixology account that would let you specifically go back and read PDF scans effectively of old comics would let you ever catch up and figure out who some of these characters are and if they're relevant. And then you also run into the problem of which version of history is the version that is now canonical. I think Marvel is nowhere as bad as DC about rebooting things, but almost every character probably has said their origin story multiple times and been tweaked here and there. Alright, well. So. I don't know where I'm walking. I actually just need to jump to space. Like, there's really no reason to run over to this plane and use that. Okay, so we have enough now. We need to run through Shakespeare in the Park. And get the score multiplier, and after we do that, then we will have that. It's in the second part, and that is score times 8, which is not studs times 10, which
I don't even want to think about what he'd be capable of with that kind of power.
Which we don't have, and we'll get that next recording.
You crave subjugation.
Come on, skip. Right. So somewhere over here is the collector.
I was initially invited here to purchase some rare paintings. I grew bored and stepped outside for some air. Now my senses are being teased by this delectable smell. It seems to be coming from that hot dog stand. Procure me one of these dogs, and in return I will grant you a boon.
The collector, as a character, was another weird character that really didn't get used well enough. He's just thrown out as a person that exists, and then I think he was kind of just off-screen killed. Okay.
I do not sense dogs or any other kind of meat.
So we're gonna mind control this guy and have him cook a hot dog, which the Lego hot dogs are really sausages. They're just really, really long sausages. And they do have a Lego hot dog bun that's a relatively new piece, but it's not that new. They just didn't want to use it in this game for no reason.
Nor a dog, yet still a taste sensation. Perhaps a new collection is in order. The best hot dogs in the universe, all in one display. Yes. Begone, I have work to do.
The collector potentially is just a hoarder. Alright, well, alright. Exit the level, save and exit. Alright. And we are already over 8 million, so I could go and get the next red brick too. And I probably would be better off doing that. So I guess the question is, in the next recording, is it better to run around Manhattan a little bit and then go to another level and get the score times 10 and then run around the Manhattan a little bit more and then go to the helicarrier? Let's see, who am I playing as? You have the mindless one and Atlas. I'm not gonna do crimes. Crimes just constantly happen. Atlas apparently grows really big. Mindless one doesn't seem like he does anything special. Alright. So we're at 35% done, and I definitely need a break, so I don't want to go any further. In Manhattan, we still have about half of everything to do, except for the Stanleys and Perils. There's actually quite a lot of those. We now are up to 6 of 15 true Marvel Avengers, which that's not super surprising. And let's see, we need the score multiplier extra, but I'm not sure if we need the other red bricks per se. We could probably run and get them all fairly easily. Just trying to figure out what would be the most efficient way to do that. I think the best bet is, starting with the next recording, we just pick a direction, we run in that direction, we try to do a few more quests, we try to bump up our stud count by a decent amount, and decent now is a fairly relative number because that number is just going to be huge no matter what. We will of course unlock more gold bricks, and we will of course unlock more characters, which we are only about a third of the characters unlocked, and that is in part the reason why it says we're only 35% done, when in actuality I think we probably would be closer to 50% done with the game. But Manhattan is going to be a bit of a hassle. We do need to just try to break it up and get as much done in Manhattan for at least a good 20 minutes. Then we'll run back to the final red brick, collect that, then we'll get back to Manhattan and maybe spend another 10-20 minutes running around getting gold bricks, and then we'll go to the helicarrier and get the score multiplier. I seriously doubt that we will have a lack of funds at any point going forward, so we should be able to potentially spend another hour just getting a stud times 48 multiplier as compared to going to the helicarrier right now and getting a multiplier and increasing it to like 320 or so. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.